This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so Anthony Joshua, who has apparently just spent £2,000 on a 4-day retreat to be spent in a room that's dark, where it's just his own thoughts in there, apparently. I've never heard of such a thing, but hey, if it works, it works. And I think everybody does need a little bit of alone time. Anyway, he says that he's been watching the Tyson Fury Netflix series, the At Home with Furies, which of course I have watched as well, and I'm sure a lot of you have it as well. Anyway, this is what Anthony Joshua said on Tyson Fury, At Home with the Furies at least. I'm enjoying it. I like his kids. They're so funny. His wife is loyal, so supportive. It gives me an insight that maybe I can use if we fight. They say that I'm mentally weak. He definitely has mental issues. 100% I would exploit that if we fight. It's like going to war. Anthony Joshua's statement. Now, that's always the fighter's mentality. You see, they will look at other fighters in their weight divisions totally different to how you and I look at them. We look at them and we will judge them from our fans' perspective. Are they good? Are they not good? What are they good at here? What are they not so good at? Whereas boxers, of course, they do that as well. But they look on it as competitive. They look on it as, well, what can I exploit? I know what he's good at, but what's he not so good at? And the mental edge is something that Anthony Joshua is talking about. And AJ is correct, where a lot of people say that Anthony Joshua is mentally weak and whatever else. And listen, I don't know anything about that, but it takes a certain kind of mental fortitude to get into that ring. He was thrust in there as a novice, really, to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship in his 16th fight. In his 15th fight, he fought Dillian Whyte. In his 19th fight, he fought Vladimir Klitschko and so forth and so on. So he's been there, seen there and done it. And in a very short career, and that's what it is, if you look at the amount of fights that he's had compared to everybody else, he's done exceptionally well. Now, as far as the mental side, now, I watched the At Home with the Furies, and listen, there's definitely some issues with Fury, without a doubt. And he's right. I think his kids are absolutely lovely. And his wife is phenomenal. I really do. And my wife, who watched some of the series, says, well, her favourite person is actually John Fury, which is a bit bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, but yeah, in that series, for those of you who haven't watched it, Tyson does spend a lot of time saying one thing and then doing something totally opposite, then going off and spending time abroad and just doing things off the cuff and whatever else. And I don't know whether it was the way that it was edited, but it seemed like any old excuse to get away from his family at times. Is that a case of, because he needs to be on his own himself, he needs to gather his own thoughts, much like what Anthony Joshua is doing with his 4-day retreat, to spend it on his own, in his own thoughts. Tyson has to do the same thing. Now, I don't really know if Tyson is genuinely as bad mentally as what he says that he is. How would I know? Now, I know a couple of people who know him personally, know him very, very, very well, and say, no, he's actually genuine. So, it is what it is, but for me, I always felt that it was a diversion, especially in the beginning part. I always felt it was a diversion for what happened with his PED situation and what he was saying about homosexuals and Jews and foreigners and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, he got some bad publicity over it. But regardless, I always said I support it anyway, because at least that way, even if he's not genuine about it, he's given other people hope, and other people will reach out and other people will get help for themselves. So from that perspective, it's a good thing that he's done it anyway. But mentally weak, I don't know if Fury is actually mentally weak at all. He's a very, very smart man. Very, very smart. And when it comes to the boxing, he's also an enigma. He is, because he knows how to read boxing. He can box in the boxing ring like you and I can drive a car. You just do it. Okay, it just comes natural to you. Fury doesn't actually need somebody in his corner to tell him what to do. He knows what to do. He knows what's working and he knows what isn't. With AJ, at times I feel like he leans on his corner and his team too much to tell him what to do rather than just do it yourself. So, of course, there is that side to it. But at the same time, Tyson, he is prone to have hissy fits. And at times, with the way that he keeps touching his nose and things like that in a boxing fight as well, that's a readjustment of himself. So that's something that AJ can certainly look at, and I'm sure that he's already noticed it. But as far as the mental edge, I don't really know. I mean, I don't believe that Anthony Joshua has mental issues, not at all. He's adapted his game because he's lost. I mean, that's normal behaviour for a lot of fighters. Most fighters, 99% of fighters out there, if not more, will lose at some point. It happens, okay? It's boxing. And then you adjust the wrongs as best you can. Hit, don't get hit. That's the name of the game. That's what Fury's game has been about for quite some time. But he was smart enough to realise you make the changes and the adjustments before you get to that point. He made his style that he has now, where he will come forward at times, which is something that he didn't really do before. He was always the back foot boxer, and he'll catch them tired down the stretch and then try and put them out then. But now sometimes he comes out from the opening bell, doesn't he? Like he did with Wilder. And he's done that because he's realised that he doesn't have the legs to carry him backwards around the ring the way that he used to do, say, for example, in the Klitschko fight. So he's very, very smart. He knows what he's doing. So is there a mental weakness that AJ can exploit? I don't know. I really don't know. I think Tyson Fury, if he is genuinely on that mental health spiral, if you like, he's got that condition and bipolar, whatever, then of course there's always going to be something that could trigger him. Can AJ figure it out? Nobody else has managed to figure it out yet. Maybe he can, because at the same time, Tyson, he likes to out-talk people. Maybe he does that so somebody doesn't fire back at him to give him something to think about. So he just out-talks people. Maybe. Anyway, who knows? Just food for thought. Drop your thoughts below. Click on the subscribe. Catch you next video.